We're back here at the studios of WLUW on the Loyola University Lakefront campus, right on the edge of the Great Lake, Michigan, part of the inland seas of the Heartland. The inland seas of the Heartland, a bunch of lakes. I am Michael James. I'm your host for this morning's edition of Live from the Heartland. We come to you every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Usually we are live from the Heartland Cafe at the corner of Glenwood and London, the heart of Rogers Park. We have some new technology coming our way. We're about ready to make the transition to a new ISDN phone line and new equipment. So all of you people who look forward and so often in the past enjoyed the show being done during the breakfast cacophony at the Heartland, we'll be glad that we're coming back. It will be next week or the week after at the latest. Mark my words, I hope. This morning we are having a long conversation with Mary Sweeters, and she is the Global Warming Organizing Manager for Greenpeace. And if you just tuned in, we've talked a little bit about Greenpeace's general background, the global warming campaign, and I think now we're going to talk a little bit more about political action and how Greenpeace not only worked with politicians who were running for office and those who had a good platform and positions on the issues that affect us environmentally. But now you're going to move on, Mary, to keeping the fire under their feet.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about that, the day-to-day work with the congressmen and congresswomen, and how's that going?
Yeah. Greenpeace obviously is often known. We've got the big images of banner hangings over different places, or large actions, right? And it's it's a big part of what we do. We want to show people in very striking images about the environmental issues we're addressing. But our global warming project for the last few years, our campaign has worked more at the grassroots level here in the United States. And we have had organizing staff across the country, from Raleigh, North Carolina to San Diego, California, working with ordinary citizens every day to really communicate with their members of Congress, and in election years with the candidates for Congress, to when a bill comes up, to have them vote the right way in favor of climate change, of stopping climate change. And we've been working with thousands of residents across the country, moms, students, retired folks. We've worked with farmers, with the labor movement. We've worked with really everybody to show their members of Congress that their constituents, that their voters really care about global warming, want them to make it a priority, and want them to take strong action when they're in Congress. So, day to day, our organizers are out there talking with everybody and working to get letters written to their Congress members, just to show the sheer number of people who support global warming action. We've been generating thousands of phone calls into their offices from ordinary people. We've stopped people on the street and say, hey, do you want to get involved? And they become our volunteers who have put in so much time and so much effort. They talk to the media themselves. They've been out there, the faces of the campaign. And it's been really exciting because they recognize that global warming is a problem, not only abroad, but here in the country. They know that they're doing things in their own life, like driving less, they're switching out their light bulbs, they're making those lifestyle changes. But then they also know that their Congress needs to do something. Their members of Congress are responsible ultimately for getting this country in line. And so it's been really exciting this last few months especially. So.
Well, as someone who has been out there on the turf doing the work, right. What occurred to me as you were talking was, what kind of support do you get from different segments of the population, whether it be race, ethnicity, class, economics, education? I got to go to Proposition 8 in California, and I saw the movie Milk last night, and Obama didn't. He's got James Warren going to be talking at the inauguration. So there's a lot of discussion around Proposition 8 stuff. But one of the things, people tried to blame it on the black community as in a sense that they supported the Proposition 8. But I read a really interesting piece on it that talked about across racial and ethnic lines. It had to do with it had to do with education and class. In other words, if you had gone to school more, you tended to oppose it. And I'm just wondering how that would come down in terms of environmental concerns. I mean, what do you find from people in different kinds of communities, well, like say a suburban community or an inner city community, about responses to environmental concerns and global warming? Can you target that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. That's a really good question, and it's been talked about a lot, I think, in the last couple of years, especially. I mean, we have seen support from everyone, every demographic we have worked with. We've worked with, low-income folks, middle class, upper class, every ethnicity. We have seen, people out in rural parts of the desert in Southern California getting involved for the first time in their lives. Retired folks in Florida have been coming out to work on this. They're concerned for their grandchildren's future, and then everybody in between has really shown a lot of support and really gotten involved with this. And I think the environmental movement is something that obviously affects everyone, no matter if you live in an inner city and you're breathing air that is being polluted from the refineries surrounding your city or from all the cars, you're affected by environmental issues. Or if you live out in the country and you're a farmer and global warming could be threatening your crops, you're also affected. And so we've seen pretty much everybody across this country in one form or another we've worked with. And I think the environmental community especially has been working. There's a whole movement called environmental justice within the environmental community that is really important, and that's looking to show that a lot of environmental impacts often disproportionately affect lower income communities because they're often downriver from the plant, or so that's also another movement within the environmental movement that's taken gotten a lot of strength in the last few years especially, and I think is really important.
While you were talking a little bit about that, what came to me was the environmental movement as a whole. And Greenpeace certainly took creative actions from its very beginning, and still does. I mean, I really like the banners from high places and that kind of thing. But I wonder if you could give us a little overview or synopsis of the different groups that are in the environmental movement.